Today, I just want to talk a few minutes on energetic boundaries. I'm seeing this with some of my clients, and I actually have seen it with myself recently too. So, how many times have we, trying to be empathetic and compassionate leaders, take on too much of other people's items, whether that's their work or their energy? A lot of people don't think about energy as something that impacts how they operate. But think about it. If you are an overfunctioning high achiever, you are oftentimes saying yes to everything, even the things you don't want to do. And there is that moment when one more yes actually becomes a no. And oftentimes you stop being the leader that you're meant to be and you start being the I don't want to use negative, but the less enthusiastic individual doing what needs to get done. And what happens is you are now ticking a box. You are not being strategic. You're not thinking things through. You're not figuring out a better way of doing it. You are just getting it done. I had this show up with a client recently. They had done all the right things in maneuvering through their environment. They looked at the people around them. We worked through what's most likely their disc profile. How are they showing up in meetings? How could my client protect herself from micromanagement or questioning from somebody who they themselves were insecure or they were operating from a high C place, which is needing to know all the detail. And not every leader can know all the detail. That actually has a negative impact on productivity. So they felt very confident they had this under control. And of course, as it always happens behind the scenes, there was a hiccup and this leader went back to their old ways of functioning. And my client was a little bit like a deer in the headlights saying, whoa, what happened? And what she didn't realize was she didn't keep up an energetic boundary. So instead of being aware that this could happen again, she was pulled in to that situation and really felt like they lost their footing. Although they had done so much work that the other people in the room, I'm convinced of this, even though I wasn't there, still saw her for the leader that she was and saw her boss as the hindrance to the situation. But we were able to work through some other tools so that she was able to see when it was happening and how to put up her defenses for her energy so that she wasn't taking on his insecurities and was just holding them to what's really the business impact and what is it that the discussion needs to be. I did it in a very different way. I had a wide open period of time, primarily from my doing for what I wanted to do in my business. And I had a client I really cared about and really wanted to see them be successful. So every month when I put my retainer together, I was negotiating against myself because I really wanted to help them. Well, what I realized when I looked back on 3 months, they basically had been getting my efforts for 50% of what I normally charge. So when I put that forward and I expected sticker shock, I wound up again negotiating against myself because I wanted to see them through that phase. And I kept feeling like I was doing the right thing. But what I had done was I had let my energetic boundaries diminish. And I was leaning into somebody else's needs because again, I wanted to support them. But what I realized when I finally stood up and I said, this is either the proposal or let's take a break until you are ready for the next phase, not just emotionally and physically, but financially. And we parted on really good terms. I realized the next day I had a weight off my shoulder and I was able to refocus on my business and on the things that I needed to do. So I want to challenge you today. Whose energetic baggage are you holding on to because you are an overfunctioning, high achieving individual? I've put a blog up this week about that. I would love to get your comments and even your questions because it's something we don't all realize we do. Anyway, have a great day. Thank you for joining me on Marla Bace Coaching. Please like or subscribe. or forward the newsletter or the blog to someone you might see doing this. Have a great week.